Hi guys, welcome back to the channel. So today we're going to be creating this project effect here, or this list effect, where if we hover our project items, you can see we get this nice transition effect. And it's kind of like a linear gradient effect where when we hover each one, you can see we get that nice transition. And you'll see when the animation starts, it comes from the bottom, and then when we leave, it fades up from the top to the top. Okay, so I think it's a really nice effect. Kind of looks almost similar to a WebGL effect, but we're only using kind of pure CSS, linear gradient mask functions here, and pure JavaScript. Yeah, there's no kind of libraries involved. So I hope you enjoy, guys, and let's get going. Thanks. Okay guys, so to get started with this project, you can see I've just got the three usual files here, an index.html, a style.css, and an app.js file here. I've also got an images folder, and I've just got 6 images from unsplash.com. This is just like 6 random abstract images I could find. Use whatever images you want for this project, but I've just also named these from 1 to 6. I'm using this naming convention just because we're going to be iterating through these images to apply them to the actual page, so that's why I've used this naming convention here. Okay, so next thing I want to do, let's just come into our index.html first, and we'll emit some boilerplate HTML code. As always, we'll come under here in the meta tag and we'll link to our style.css. And we'll also just do a script source at the bottom of the body just to our app.js file. Okay, and then I want to use this Orbitron font from Google Fonts. It's like a kind of futuristic font. So if you just copy this embed code here into the head of your HTML section, so I'll just put this above our style.css like so. Just tidy that up a bit. Okay, and then we'll just I'll actually just copy the CSS embed now as well. So if we just, I'll just use this. Okay, and then if we come to our style.css, and I'm just gonna do the all selected with the star here, and we'll just paste that in like so. Okay, so now if I come back to our index.html, just do a h1, hello, and then if we just open with live server, you can see we've got that nice Orbitron font applied. Okay, so now first thing I want to do here, let's just to get this list section. So I'm just going to do a section here, and then in here we'll just have a container. Okay, and then we'll have a div of a class of project _list, like so, to list all of our projects. And sorry, that shouldn't be a div, that should be a UL. Do a UL instead of a div. And then within this UL, we can have a list item, and you can put like an anchor tag in there as well if this contains a link to your project. And here we'll just say project 1. But yeah, again, name this project whatever you would call your projects. I'm also just going to put a class in here, so we'll just say project like so. And then also we'll just have a data attribute as well. So data attribute, and we'll say image. And this will be, I'll just link this to the first image, so 1.avif. But again, you would just name this whatever image you want to refer for this project. So within your images folder, here I'm just using this, this 1.avif, okay, for project 1. So now let's copy this down. I'm going to do this 5 times. And then we'll just change these here to 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6. And we'll just change these names as well. Cool, and there you can see there's our projects listed. Okay, and I think, to be honest, that's it for now. Let's leave that HTML there. I want to keep this pretty simple and straightforward. So now let's move to our style.css. And here I'm just going to come up here in the all settings here, and we'll just say margin of 0. Actually, just before we do that, let's just do a list style of none. Let's just remove those bullet points you can see here, and we'll just also do a text decoration of none as well. To remove that, remove the underlines from the links. I'm also just going to say, we'll just do, margin 0. When we do a padding 0 as well, padding 0 and box sizing of border box, just to reset all of the margins and paddings like so. Now you can see we've got no kind of white space there. I just want to adjust the font weight as well. We'll say 400, make it a bit lighter. Okay, that will do for now. So let's come to our HTML and our body section. Body selectors here, and we'll just do a background color of white for now. And we're doing this just so because we're going to be applying a mixed blend mode soon to our this text here, and we need a white background so you can apply that kind of a difference effect to that. Okay, so now let's target the section element. Remember, we only had this one section here for the whole project section, and we can just say here position relative, and I want to say here we're going to give it a width of 100%. We'll give it a height of 100 VH to fill the screen horizontally. We'll display flex, and then we'll justify content center like so. I want to give it some padding as well, and we'll just give it 60 pixel padding to the top and bottom, and 0 to the right and left. Okay, now I want to target my container, and here I want to give this a width of 95%. Okay, and you should see you get that kind of little bit of white space there. If we just do a border 1 pixel solid red, just you can see that. Yeah, you can see it's nicely justified to the center as well. So it takes up 95% of the width of the viewport. Okay, and then we can just do, I want to display this as a grid. So we'll just say display grid, uses CSS grid to display this, or the content within it. And here we can just say grid template columns. And I'm just going to say here repeat, and we'll just say 12, 1 FR. That means basically it's going to split this container into 12 even units, fraction units, okay, for FR here. So you'll see if we just do an inspect here, you can see when we hover over that, that the container is split into those 12 columns there. So that's what that grid template columns does. Okay, now what we want to do, let's just remove that border, don't need that. Okay, so I next want to just target the, let's just do the project list. So we'll come under here, we'll say project list, and then here we can just say, we'll do a grid column, and we'll start this at grid column 7, and we can just have this span 5. Okay, so let's just see, that's how that's looking now. So it starts at the 7th column basically. This is how I like to lay out my content. I like to lay it out in kind of nice grids. You know, if you start this at grid 3, for example, yeah, we'll start at grid column 7 just so it's halfway across the screen. Okay, and then the next thing I want to do here is we want to just target our li elements. So we'll just say li, and I'll just say position relative. And then we can say cursor pointer. That would give us that nice cursor pointer over the top of these. And then also we can just say mixed blend mode of difference. Okay, so it's shown up green for now, so we need to change the actual text color, but we'll do that in a second. Actually, let's just do that now. I'll just say a color white. You can see that's turning black because we have this difference effect applied. Okay, so now the next thing I want to do is we'll just do, actually what I'll do here, I'll remove this from there, and we'll come to our li section. We'll do an li hover. I just want to make the opacity slightly less here. So when I hover, you can see, yeah, we get that applied. That's good. So it goes slightly more opacity when you hover. And then next one I want to do here, let's just target our dot project, because I don't want to apply that effect to all of our anchor elements. Well, you might do, but it depends on your website. So if you just target the project, the list li elements, and the anchors within those list elements, we can just say we want to display inline block because we want to apply some paddings to these links. So we'll just say inline block, and then we'll also just say padding of 1 rem and to the top and bottom, and 0 to left and right. And then we also just want to say a width of 100%, and then we'll also just say color white. Okay, why is that not changing? So if we do project, oh, you know why? It's because, yeah, we just need to do this. So project. Okay, yeah, that's better. Okay, so we've got our projects now, and they're all black, and we can see that effect's working. Great. Now, the next thing I want to do here is let's just take our image wrapper. Okay, so we're just image wrapper like so, and we want this to be position fixed. Okay, and then we'll say here top of 0, left of 0, and then we can just say here a width of 25 VW, and I want to give this a aspect ratio of 16/9. So you can see this if we just do a border 1 pixel solid black, and okay, we should see that. I'm not sure why we're not. Image wrapper, let's have a look. We got an image wrapper on here? No, we haven't. Let's put the image wrapper on. So we just say dot image wrapper. Okay, and there's our image wrapper, and it will grow with the screen like so. Okay, to 25, well, 25% of the screen viewport basically. Okay, so now that we've got that, next thing we want to do here is I just want to target our actual images within this image wrapper. Okay, so we just say image, and for now I'll tell you what, let's just put an image in that just so we can see how this works. So if we say image here, I'll just go to our images folder, just do one AVIF for now. Okay, now if we come here, I'm just going to say image, and we'll just say position. For all of our images, we want it to be position absolute, and then we'll just say a width of 100%. Okay, and that will fill our image wrapper here, and we also want to give this a height of 100%. And now to make the aspect ratio apply again, we can just say object fit, and we'll just say cover. You can see at the moment it's all kind of squished, so let's just change that. You can see now the aspect ratio is preserved. And then what we want to do here is we're going to use a mask image. Okay, so mask image, and we're going to use a linear gradient. Now to do what we want to do, we want to say to top, and what we're going to say here is we're going to split this linear gradient into 3 sections. So just to show you what this does, if we say transparent, and we go to 50%, and then if we just say black to 100%, you can see what that does is this linear gradient will go to the top. So this means if you go to the top, it will go from the bottom to the top, like so. Okay, you can do to right, so it'll go from left to right, but in this case we want this effect to go to the top, from the bottom to the top. And here we're saying we want it to be transparent up to 50%, and then we want it to from when it gets to 50%, we want it to turn black, or to the remaining 100%. Okay, so that's what it's doing here. So we've got a slight kind of gradient effect. Okay, so what we're going to do is we're going to split this into 3 sections. Now we want to start off at transparent first, but we want to start that at minus 250%, like so, 250%. Okay, and then we want this to go transparent to we'll do transparent again to minus 150%. Okay, and then what we want to do after that is then we want to go black to minus 125%. If I can type, and then we want it to go to black at 25%, minus 25%. And then we want it to be transparent at 0%. And then we want to say transparent to 100%. Okay, so basically this means we're starting off transparent at 0%, which is the bottom here, and 100%. And then what we're going to be doing is when we hover the relevant project, we're going to just be animating these properties. So the black will then be, well, it will be transformed in, and then when it's black appearing at 0% to 100%, that's when we'll be able to see the images applied. And then we have this third section here because we want the effect to go up. So it'll start from the bottom, and then it will go, or it will continue to progress up, so we get this nice kind of flowing effect. Okay, and you'll see how that looks as we go along, but that's what we want to do here. Okay, so we have this linear gradient effect. Okay, so now we're ready to go on to our JS now. So let's just go into our app.js file. Okay, and then the first thing I want to do in my app.js file is just grab that image wrapper. So we can just say const image wrapper equals, and we'll just say document dot query selector, and we can just say dot image wrapper like so. Okay, and then we can just grab our project links as well. So say const project links equals, and we're going to use a spread operator within our array here, just so we can get the actual HTML elements in the array. And we can just say document, should be document lowercase, dot query selector all, and then we can just say dot project like so. Okay, so if I just console.log these, so console.log image wrapper and console.log our project links. If we come to our console here, you should see that we get, oh, so that's null. Why are we not seeing that? That should have a dot in front, as that's the class. Okay, so now you have our image wrapper here, and we have each of our 6 projects. So that's working great. Now, next thing I want to do here is let's get, we want to create a lerp function. Okay, so if we just delete those console logs, lerp, and then this takes in a start, an end, and a t, and we want to return start times parentheses 1 minus t plus end times t. Okay, so what this does, this is like an easing function. So for example, it just basically going to be using this. We're going to be calling this over and over again in our animation frame. So for each frame, this lerp function will be applied to this image wrapper, just so we can get a nice smooth easing effect. And what it does, it basically works out a percentage between the start variable and the end variable. And the t variable here is the percentage basically. So just to give you an example, if I console.log lerp, and we take in the first start position would be, for example, 10, and then the end position would be 20. Now, if we did half, so basically the halfway point between 10 and 20 is 15. So that's what should be logged to the terminal, okay? And you can see 15 is logged to the terminal there. 80%, if we do 0.8, that would be 18. Okay, so that's what that lerp function does. And basically, that's what we're going to be used to creating this easing function. Okay, so what we want to do now is just create some mouse coordinates. So here I can say let current, we'll just say let current x. We'll do this actually. We'll say let mouse coords, and we can say, we'll do that as an object, and we'll say current x equals 0, current y equals 0. Oh, and that should be not equal, sorry, we should do pairs there, and then we can also just say target x 0, and we'll also just say target y of 0 as well. Okay, and then target y. Okay, now what we want to do here is we're just going to say window.addEventListener. Wants this now for the mouse move event. Okay, and then what we're going to say here is basically mouse coords dot target x equals, and we need to pass the mouse move event in here, and here we can just say e.client x, and then we'll do the same thing for the target y, and we can just say here e.client y. And now if we console.log mouse coords dot target x and mouse coords dot target y, you should see, I need to do a log here, not lof. Okay, you can see now we get our mouse calls logged out. So from the top left, it'll be kind of 0, 0. And then as you go along, you get the kind of mouse coordinates in pixels. Okay, so that's working good. Now the next thing I want to do here is I'm going to create a class next. Okay, so we do a class. And I'm just going to call this image item. And here, this will take in a constructor. And this constructor will take in the actual link that we're referring to, as well as the image source. Okay. And then here we can just say this dot link equals the link. And then we'll say this dot image equals image. And then we want to have an initial position of 0. So we can just say equals 0. And then we'll say this dot active equals false, because when we load our projects or images, basically they're all going to be inactive at first until we hover over them. So that's why we're setting the initial active status to false. And then let's just create some methods here. So the first one will be append image. Okay, and then basically what we're going to say here is this dot image element equals document dot create element. Want to create an image like so, and then this dot image L, so the image element dot source equals, and here we want to just say we want to do template literal here, and we want to point to the images folder which we created here. So / images, and then we can just do / this dot image that we pass in. Okay, and then the next thing we want to do here is just append this. So we just say image wrapper. So the image wrapper dot append child, and I want to append this dot image L, like so. Okay, and then also what I want to do now is if we just let's create an add event listener. So an add event listener method, and let's just call these in the constructor as well. So I'll just say this dot append image and this dot add event listener. Okay, so now in the add event listener, we just want to add the kind of mouse over and mouse leave events to our kind of project links. Okay, so that's why we pass the actual link parameter in here. So what we can say here is this dot link dot add event listener, and we're going to listen out for a mouse enter event here, or a mouse over. So a mouse over, and then here we can just do a callback function. And then we obviously want to set, when we're hovering the link, we want to set the active status to true. So we say this dot active equals true. And then we can just say this dot image L dot style, and then we can say dot z index equals, and we'll just say 10. And this will just bring it in front of all the other images within the image wrapper, because we're going to be appending all of the images into that image wrapper div. So there'll be like 6 images within this image wrapper. And therefore that's why we need to set this z index, so this image will go in front of all the others to apply this animation. And then the next thing we want to do here is we can just say we want to set the position to be minus 250. Okay, because basically this dot pos equals minus 250, and this will just basically allow us to kind of set off this animation into the viewport, into the kind of image container. So we'll adjust the linear mask, and we'll adjust this initial position to make that effect work. Okay, and then what we want to do, that's it for the mouse over event, and now we want to also just do the same for a mouse leave event. So we do a mouse leave, and then here we can just say this dot active equals false, so we want to set that back to false, and then we'll just reset the z index to image L dot z index, and we'll just set that back to 0 when we leave. Okay, now finally we just want to have an animate method in here, and what we want to do here is we're just going to say if this dot active, that means the link is being hovered over, and we can say this dot pos is less than minus 125. Then what we want to do here is we want to basically adjust this dot position to add 4 each time, and this animation function will be called over and over again, so it will continue to add 4 pixels to the effect until we reach minus 125. Now remember, when we hover and we create the active class, we set it to minus 250. Okay, so this will be called until, well, it'll go from minus 250 until it reaches minus 125. It will continue to add 4. Okay, that's what we're doing there. And then what we want to say as well is, otherwise, if this isn't active, so if not active, okay, and this dot position is less than 0, then we also just want to add 4 as well. So this dot pos plus equals 4. Okay, and then what we can do now is we can actually just do the animations. We'll just say this dot image L dot style dot mask image, and that's just going to equal. We're going to pass in the linear gradient hyphen gradients like so, and let's make this a bit bigger because this is quite a long linear gradient. Okay, and then here we can just say linear gradient. We want to go to top, and here we do a comma. We say transparent. Okay, and then we pass in this dot pos as a template literal, and then add percent after. Okay, and then we want to do transparent again, and here we can just say this dot pos plus 100. So template literal, this dot pos plus 100, add percent, comma, and then after that we'll just do a black. So we'll just say black here, and then we can just say this dot pos plus 125%, and then here we can just say black again, and we'll just do this dot pos plus 225%, and then the final two is we'll just say transparent, and here we'll just say this dot pos plus 250%, the percent outside, and then finally transparent again, and here we'll just do a template literal, this dot pos plus 350%. Okay, so that's it for our image mask. I think that's great. Make sure you have your percentages outside of the template literals, and make sure you always include your percentage signs as well. Okay, so that's it for our animate function, and that's it for our class. Now the next thing we want to do here is let's just let's get our image items. Let's create an image items array. So I'll just say let image items equal an empty array. And then what I want to do next is I just want to cycle through our project links. And we just say for each link. And then for each link, we basically want to say let image equal link dot dataset dot image like so. So if I just console.log that, what is this doing? Sorry guys. Console.log image. So now if we come here, okay, app.js51, that should be this.pos. Okay, yeah, you can see basically what that does is it loops through our image and it gets that kind of dataset.image attribute. Okay, so you remember within our HTML, we had these data image attributes here, and that's just what it's doing. It's getting the source of the images, okay? And then we're just logging them out into the console as we've done here. So now what we can do with that image is we can create a new instance of this image item for each of our project links. So now I just say let image item equal new image item, and then we can pass in the actual link element as well as the image, like so. Okay, and then we can just push this image item to our image items array. So I just say image items dot push, and then we can just say image item. like so. Okay, and then now what I want to do here is I want to create an animate function, like a global animate function. So we just say function animate, and here I just want to say mouse coords dot current x equals lerp, so that lerp function, and we're going to take that mouse coords dot current x as the starting position, and then we want to take the mouse coords dot target x, which remember we set in our event listener up here, the mouse move event, we set the target x here, and then we'll just put in a time. So here I'll just say 0.075, and then we'll do the same thing for our y, current y, change that to y as well, and the target y, and then let's just also now loop through each of our our image items. So I just say, come under here, say for let I equals 0, whilst I is less than image items dot length. We can do an I++, so iterate through each of those, and we just say image items I, and we want to call the animate function within each instance of our image item class, which is this one here. Okay, and then the other thing we want to do here is, obviously at the moment we're not getting, why is that happening? Okay, maximum call exceeded 36. That should be link. That should be mouse leave, like so. Okay, that's better. Right, now what I want to do, yeah, we want to move our, let's just call this actually, we'll just say animate. And here, I just want to request animation frame, because we want to repeatedly call this. If you do a request animation frame, this function will basically repeatedly call itself. Okay, so active is not defined at 53. That should be this dot active. Okay, and now you can see that effect's working there, like so. You kind of get this transition effect when you hover each of our links. Like so. Now what we need to do is just make this move, this image kind of wrapper. Okay, but that's a pretty cool effect, I think. So now let's get this image wrapper to move. So to do that, we can just say image wrapper dot style dot transform equals, and we want to do here a translate 3D. And here we want to pass in, for the x-axis, we'll just do current x, or mouse coords dot current x, and then we can just say pixels, and then we'll just do another template literal for the y. We'll say mouse coords dot current y pixels, and then we'll just say 0. Okay, so now you can see that is moving, but we want it to be kind of centered as well. Okay, so let's get it centered. To do this, what I want to actually do here is I'm just going to say, come back here, I'll add event listener up here. So window dot add event listener wants to listen up for a resize event. Obviously, because our image is always going to resize to 25% of the viewport, we need to account for this. So I'm going to create an image width and an image height variable underneath here. So we'll just say let image width, and that's going to equal our image wrapper dot offset width. Okay, and I want to divide this by 2 because we want our kind of image to be centered to our mouse, and then we just do an image height. That's just going to be offset height, like so. And then here we can just say I want to just do this within this resize event as well, so this will always adjust, and then we just take out the let keywords here. And then what I can do with this is we can put this in our function here. So now I can just say minus image width, and then minus image height. So now, yeah, you can see it's nice and centered to our mouse now. Okay, and now let's just come back to our CSS, and I want to remove this border, and I'm just also just going to say will change transform, just to make it more performant for the transform. Okay, so now you can see when we hover our images or our projects, we get that nice kind of reveal effect. It's nice and smooth animation. Okay, it kind of looks like a WebGL effect to me, even though we're just using kind of standard CSS linear mask. But I think that's a really nice effect. And I'm going to wrap this up here, but you can kind of apply this to like page transitions as well. So for example, if you had a div on your page that was hidden, you could kind of reveal it in like this. And I think it looks really nice just to get that kind of smooth, page transition effect. But yeah, this looks really good for this. So you can see, obviously it comes in from the bottom, and then when you leave the link, it goes up via the top. So I think that's really nice as well. But yeah, I hope you enjoyed the tutorial, guys. I'll leave it there. Thanks for watching, and I will see you in the next one. Cheers.